Hello everybody, how are y'all doing today? I hope everybody's having a great day. Let's see, we've talked about, welcome to Be the Ant Preparedness. I gotta make sure I start saying that, I always forget that. Anyway, we've talked about prepping with kids. So I thought a good follow-up to that would be talking to your children about prepping. My wife and I have 5 children. I don't know if I've said that on here before or not. So I'm not saying I'm an expert in it, but I've had to have conversations with my kids as far as prepping. Okay. So start off is depending on the age of the children. Okay, if they've reached that level of maturity, you absolutely should talk to them. There's a fine balancing act there between preparing them and scaring the crap out of them. Okay, so you don't want to watch a bunch of, I don't know, maybe you do. I was going to say you don't want to watch a bunch of World War Z and Walking Dead and Book of Eli. Book of Eli's a good one. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, the post-apocalyptic. Okay, you don't want to scare the absolute crap out of them, but at the same time, you want to stress the importance of this. So you're going to have to walk that line. Feel a sneeze coming on. Oh, come on. It went away. All right. And go. Okay, we got it. So you want to have that talk. You want to get them prepared. Depending on their age, you're going to have to use your own discretion as far as how vivid you want to paint that imagery of shtf. Okay. Maybe they have wondered why you guys have so much rice, or wonder why, Daddy, that's a whole lot of bullets. Okay, or something along those lines. So you're going to want to talk to them. You're going to want to let them know that that's for their protection. That's for them. Okay. If you can kind of start it out like that this is so that they'll be okay, that kind of gives them a little bit of sense of security. Okay, this Daddy's doing this for me, or Mommy's doing this for me. I'm sorry, or Uncle or Aunt or Grandpa or whoever you may be. But you want to make sure that you talk with them about it, explain what could possibly happen, and explain to them that we don't talk to people about what we have. You know, you got to watch your OPSEC. If your child is prone to liking to talk a lot, okay, I hate to say that you might have to prep behind their back, but you really don't want them going to school and saying, oh man, my daddy's got a pile of food this high and blah blah blah, just for the fact of, if something were to happen and that buddy from school, they're sitting there and they haven't had anything to eat, and he remembers back, or she remembers back to, hey, so and so said their daddy had this mountain of food. Okay, so that's kind of self-explanatory when it comes to that. If you can, you know, trust them to keep a secret, however you want to say it. Yeah, fill them in on why we do this, why we do that. My children, they shoot, and I'm not gonna give out ages here, okay? But they're old enough to shoot. I started hunting when I was 8, and my boys started around then. So they've been shooting either their shotguns or their 22s, things like that. You don't have to start them off with the AR, okay? Start them off with the kid guns. Start them on the 22. They're going to enjoy the 22. It doesn't kick, and they love watching that can fall that they made fall over out there at 50 yards or however far, okay? Get it enjoyable to them. Don't start them off with a 12 gauge shotgun and then slap them up the back of the head when they're afraid to shoot the thing, okay? But as far as the shooting, yeah, my older kids, they do know. We're waiting on the younger ones, you know. Whenever Daddy feels they're ready, they're going to start. So with the shooting, and I take them out with me into the woods, okay? They love going on our hikes, okay? To them, we're going on a hike, and they get to pick up different rocks and ask Daddy what this rock is and what that rock is. And the flint and steel went over very, very big. They thought that was one of the coolest things ever. And then when I started a fire with a flint and steel, yeah, they were just amazed. They were like, that's so cool. You know, they've been used to, you either got to have a lighter and gasoline and all this other stuff. So try to prepare your kids, try to teach your kids, but do it from a point of, hey, they're kids, you know, what's going to be fun to them, and how can you use that into your prepping. When it's cold out, we go to a local area here, and there's a pretty good sized patch of woods. Not allowed to hunt there, but we can hike through it. And we've gone and set up our hammocks, and we've cooked a little, and we've taken the Mountain House meal with us or something like that, and we've boiled water and made a little meal while we were out in the woods, and once again, they thought that was cool as can be. Taught them how to make debris shelters just out of what they have, which that was pretty easy, because we've always, you know, if you hunt, you want to kind of have a blind, you know, camouflage is great, but, you know, especially when you got a 8-year-old in the woods with you and you're trying to hunt deer, you want to have something to where when they're playing with the acorn, it can't be seen forever, okay? So we've always made just your natural limbs, leaves, whatever, little hunting blinds. So as far as moving it up to a shelter, it wasn't that big of a change. Yeah, get them out doing that. When I got a tourniquet one time, they thought it was great to put it on Daddy, and you know, they were feeling my pulse, and oh, okay, Daddy's can't feel Daddy's pulse anymore, okay, the tourniquet's on there, okay, and so the kids can find this stuff enjoyable, okay? It doesn't have to be the doom and gloom and the zombies are going to eat your brains, okay? It doesn't have to be all that. You can find ways to make it fun. Getting the kids out in the woods, guys, that's the biggest thing. I don't care how cityfied your child is, okay? Leave the tablets, well, take the cell phones, because they like to take pictures, okay? And hey, have at it. But leave the tablets at home and kind of make sure everybody understands that the phones, if you want to use the camera, take a pic, you know what I mean? So that their attention is on the woods, on nature. I've tried to explain to my kids just how amazing God's creation is, how He has set everything up. It's like when we want a garden, we got to get a rototiller and we got to turn this in. When we want compost, we got to gather this up and we mix this together. And it's amazing to go in the woods and you take your foot and you scrape away the top layer of leaves, you talk about the darkest, most fertile soil you've ever found. And it's all turned up with earthworms and ground squirrels. So God's own tillers are at work all the time in the woods. God's own composting is at work in the woods all the time. It's mind-boggling. It's quite beautiful to see how everything works together. And we try to create this stuff in our gardens, and it's like, man, I just can't get anything to grow. Well, go out in the woods and see how that grows. Why is that growing, and all that other stuff. But get back on topic here. I got off on a tangent. But yeah, get them out in the woods. Take them to some classes. Okay, now watch your classes, of course, age appropriate. Our group is going to be at our next meetup. We're going to be having a class just on first aid. Okay, it's not going to be battlefield surgery. Okay, it's going to be first aid. I believe our member that's teaching the class, I hope he does. If you see this, I'd really like for you to do this. Teaching some suturing, okay, how to put on a tourniquet properly, but aside from that, yeah, stopping blood, bandaging boo-boos, and kids can find that stuff interesting too, okay. My kids enjoy that stuff, especially, learning your CPR and everything, because they've seen how knowing that stuff can help. Years ago, we were at a restaurant. There was a gentleman there that had too big a piece of steak. Got it stuck down in his windpipe. I got up about the same time another guy did, and he looked at me and he said, I don't know the Heimlich. So I just took the guy that was in trouble, spun him around, popped it out, and then I went and sat down. And they thought that was the coolest thing ever. Now afterwards I was shaking like crazy. And we had to get out of there, because yeah, it's like that happens for anybody that's ever done anything like that. It's like in the moment, typically it seems like you're cool, calm, and collected, but after the danger has passed, for some reason, that's when your body starts getting the shakes. I don't know if it's just that adrenaline going away or what. I don't know. The medical guys out there can probably tell us. But anyway, try to get off this. I'll try to let you guys go. But basically, talk to your kids about the prepping. I don't recommend trying to scare them to death. Try to make it as enjoyable as you can. Teach them to how to start, if you trust them with fire, start a fire in the woods safely. Okay, how to do it safely so you don't burn down the woods. Yeah, teach them how to can. My daughter pressure cans with me. All my kids can cook. Try to teach them these things, because one day they might have to know this stuff. So with that, guys, I'll get off here. Always do the like, share, subscribe thing if you can. Comment, absolutely. Yeah, the comments. What do you do? What do you do with your kids? What are some of the things that you've implemented to help your kids with the prepping? We'd love to hear. So with that, I'll get off here and we'll talk to y'all after a while. And it didn't go.